Oh, good. Oh, and so in other words, they must be walking up to you and talking to you, right? Since they think you're on the air. That's how they usually do it. Right. Right. As in, yes. Do you mind? Okay. Okay. There's that one. Okay, we're up and running. You guys ready to go? Or are you guys watching something? Okay, here we go. All right, going live in three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the rundown. And well, I'm not even on the screen right now, am I? Hey, gentlemen, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Freeback Friday edition of the rundown.
Where Craig at?
How you guys doing?
We're like, where Craig at? Where Craig?
Where Craig at?
We're doing all right, Craig. I'm coming to you live from the south central portion of the United States, normally over on the East Coast. We're coming to you from the great Republic of Texas. I'm co-hosting today, and I'm co-hosting, and I have a co-host with me while I'm co-hosting. So my name is Mike Borski, and here's my co-host.
I'm Patrick Collins here. How's everybody doing?
Man, doing fantastic, Patrick. Doing fantastic. Just be careful, man. When I got you in this two-shot, if you lean forward, you're going to be like in my lap, and that's not a good place to be.
Definitely uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, there's promotions opportunities available if you want to.
In fact, I think that's probably illegal in Texas. Although it is part of the California.
Well, yeah, true. But he would be. I would say he'd be leaning forward in Texas, but ending up in California. So I think that makes it legal right there.
Very funny, very funny. Everyone, we apologize for running a little bit late, but obviously, whenever we do remote, there's always bound to be some sort of technical difficulties. But, as the two of us, two Gen Xers, try to figure out modern day technology, you can be assured that there is not a manual or an instruction booklet anywhere to be found. Thus, we will eventually figure it out.
I believe those are called jury instructions. By the way.
Jury instructions. Exactly. That be how it be. So now, where are you guys at today?
We're coming to you live from the Fort Worth Convention Center. We're here at the United States Concealed Carry Association's Carry Expo. Is that what it is? Training Expo?
Yes, the expo.
Training Expo. Patrick being obviously with the gun food, is here making some contacts, and then he does that little training gimmick on the side, like it's on the side. The guy does more training in a month than I've done in 5 years, but he's here making those contacts as well. And we ran into each other, and I said, "Come on, you're going to be my co-host."
That is very nice, very nice. Well, you know what? We always love having pro Second Amendment friends on the program. Once again, we're a show that talks about 2A news and with conservative views. So because we like this, just because you're pro 2A doesn't necessarily mean you're conservative. Although my experience is that most people who are really pro Second Amendment tend to lean conservative. So this is our opportunity to talk about both and have a good time with it. So welcome to the program, Patrick.
Thank you guys. This is nice to be on.
Now, for those of you who are watching,
so Craig, how's things been going out there in California before we? We got the delay. Little delay. Here we go. We're walking and we're talking.
As I was saying, you might notice that
I'll keep talking though. So since I interrupted you, now I'll do it again. Let's do it again one more time.
You might notice,
on top of each other. Ready, go.
you might notice, folks, we have a little bit of a delay. So we're going to try not to talk over each other. But what you'll notice is if I stop talking and there's this lull, it's because Mike doesn't realize that I've stopped talking yet. So anyway, that's going to happen. Kind of like a Japanese movie, like, ha, 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 ha.
That's the story.
That's
the story, and we're sticking
to it, right? Hey, for those of you watching, if you want to participate in Feedback Friday, because I see there's some folks over on 2A News watching. I see there are folks over at the California Republican Assembly watching. Some folks watching over at CraigDeLuz.com. Folks, if you want to participate in Feedback Friday and potentially win a gift for your comments, go over to the Rundown. By the way, Mike, we're back on YouTube. YouTube is back up and running. Our suspension has been waived.
How do we do that?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe our appeal went through.
I guess it takes. It takes.
I don't know. You guys look frozen over there.
And they finally had to let us back on.
Exactly. They eventually had to wind up letting us back on because, well, hey, there you go. You're moving again. God, gotta love that free public Wi-Fi, right?
Hey, I paid the $8 for this. This is not free Wi-Fi. I'll tell you what happened. This is a true story. Here at the convention center, they said, "Would you like to have the Wi-Fi?" We said, "Sure." I said, "Here's the password." I said, "Okay, well, it runs at about looks like it's running about 3 to 5 megapixels here, right?" So I said, "Well, okay, I go online. I can download the fast." I can pay $80 for the day, and they'll guarantee me 1.5. I'm like, well, you're already at 3 to 5. I already because we'll give you the 5 gigahertz USB adapter, and you can get 5 gigahertz. It's like, well, do you have any adapters? And they're like, no, we're not sure what that means.
Well, okay. So what the difference with the gigahertz? And basically what you'll do is you'll be on a different system, which means there'll probably be less competition. Right now, you're competing with everybody else who's using that Wi-Fi, which is one of the problems. So you're competing with everyone else using that Wi-Fi. So you're basically participating in a how shall we call it? And I don't want to call it an internet group thing. So you may want to check your computer for, computer transmitted diseases when you get back.
Whoa.
All right. Hey,
I hear if you sit in the hot tub for an hour afterwards, it'll take care of it though.
Okay, let's get on to today's news because I'm sure people didn't tune in to hear us banter. But like I said, get over to the rundown.us. That's our YouTube channel, or find us on Facebook at 2A News, The Rundown. That way you can participate in the live chat as well as enter to win our free gift for the day. By the way, before we do that, you want to mention our sponsors, Mike?
I do. But I'm going to pause uncomfortably to make Craig feel weird.
I did feel weird, yes. Thank you for that.
Our sponsors are our good friends over at Gorilla Machining, and at Grid Defense. Gorilla Machining and Grid Defense. They're going to be bringing to you today some 80% of our nation's finest aluminum fixtures. Is what you're going to be getting. In fact, here in Texas, what is it? 1, 2, 3 booths away, Patrick. There is an 80% manufacturer. So I believe before the end of the program, I'm going to go over there and see whose is bigger, his 80% or my 80%.
Okay, so Mike, just so you know, for your little joke there, I have a bag of Richards for you. So, just saying that's for your joke because it was not funny.
There you go.
I'm sitting up here thinking, okay, darn, I've lost Mikey
That's relieving
again.
you uncomfortably for a few minutes. Okay, got it.
Making me feel uncomfortable for a few minutes. Yes, this bag of Richards is for you. Just saying.
Henceforth, consume a satchel of Richard.
A satchel of Richards. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got
yes,
it.
Sir. Okay.
Got it.
Let's get into today's story, shall we? All right. For those of you who have not heard, probably outside of California, you probably really don't care, except to laugh at those of us here in the state of California, because, we don't necessarily live in free America. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom, that is not his name. His name is Gavin Newsom, has came out and basically announced that California will require vaccines for all students in order to be able to attend school. So we're the first state in the entire country, mind you, to mandate vaccines for all students. I cannot even believe this. And then, hey, you guys have switched places. What do you know? But think about this, Mike. We talked about this already, right?
Actually, we didn't.
You didn't.
You might have just changed the camera settings. I'm not sure, but no, we're still in the same place. So I'm not sure what's going on your end, but that's all right. Well, we'll make do. Listen, this is all students in California now. All students in California have to have the vaccine. Craig, is there an age limit on the bottom of this? Are they going to make the 5-year-olds go get an experimental vaccine, which we still don't have positive confirmation from the CDC, from the World Health Organization, that 5 to 12 should be taking this. Is this just more of what we've seen and known and loved from our good friends out there in California?
First of all, we don't do science here. In the state of California, science is not a thing. It's a thing we talk about, but it's not a thing we do.
Right.
All right. Because if we follow the science, we would know that just because you got the vaccine doesn't mean you won't get COVID. We know that. We know if you have the vaccine, you can still get COVID. Right. We also know that if you have the vaccine and you have COVID, you can still spread COVID. We know that. We also know that children, in particular, not just under the age of 19, but under the age of 10, have an infinitesimal chance of getting it. And even if they get it, an even smaller, minute chance of actually getting sick. In fact, total 500 minors. I say minors, I'm talking under the age of 19 and under, have died from COVID in 18 months. And half of them have significant comorbidities. But none of that matters because, California in COVID, oogity boogity.
Yeah. Curious. Listen, you're from West Coast. I'm down there in the East Coast. I got Captain Florida. Patrick's here from Georgia, which is another one of them great conservative states. Patrick, what's the state of COVID going on in Georgia right now? As you know, you're teaching. I mean, what's it like for you?
Well, there's two.
True.
And then there's the rest of Georgia,
right,
where the normal people live at. So in Metro Atlanta, they have the mask mandate and blah, blah, blah. And really right now it's just a suggestion now. But
gotcha.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the politics there in Georgia, how things are switching around a little bit and it's making things uncomfortable. But I'm hoping that eventually we just clear the path and just let it happen,
It's funny because they actually
people starting to come forward and talk about it. Yeah.
I was actually just reading an article and literally these are once again are medical professionals who are admitting, look, everyone's going to get it. The question is, what is your response going to be? Are you going to get really sick and wind up in the hospital and potentially die or not? And there are certain ways in which you can limit that liability or that risk. If you are younger, and have no comorbidities, if you get the vaccine, if you've had it already and survived it. I mean, these are all things that are going to, and they're basically going to say it's going to start to eventually be like the flu, where it's going to be a possibility of getting it every year, and every year they're going to be encouraging you. I heard even one group, is it Moderna, was actually working on the Flovid shot, a flu and COVID shot every year. I mean, the fact is you're going to get it. Everyone's going to get it. This whole thing.
Every 6 months. Why not? Why not? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Rand Paul actually called out Becerra and said, basically just said, look, you need to stop scaring people and pretending like the vaccine gives you immunity to COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. And we're starting to see that in places like we get that in Florida, like we said, we get that outside of the metropolitan Atlanta area in Georgia. We're seeing that in the rural, God-fearing, American-loving, Constitution supporting, Second Amendment rights advocating peoples of this country. Right? This has clearly just become a blue and red virus. All right, that's all this is at this point. It's politics, and that's it. That's it alone.
Well, you know how society is now. We're subscription based. This is going to be a subscription now. Sign up for it and get a free trial, and
that's it.
Get your
COVID
trial.
now while it lasts. Get your COVID now.
Exactly. Hey,
Yeah,
the initial
now.
shot is
And
free.
listen, but wait, there's more.
Right. The initial
There's
shot
more.
is free.
Or you can also get your vaccination shot for $19.95 for only 3 easy payments.
You can give you a 2-for-1. 2-for-1.
2 for 1. 2 for 1. That's it.
Oh, you've got to love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So anyway, so now the kiddies are going to be getting jabbed if they want to go to school. And I'm real curious. Well, first of all, I know someone is going to sue over this, and I'm real curious to see what the courts eventually say about it. But, once again, especially since we know that it doesn't provide the same – I mean, it's not like the polio or tuberculosis, like those vaccines where you get it and okay, you're not going to get that disease. This doesn't give you that same level of protection.
Right.
So, anyway, it'll be real –
Vaccine, this is a shot.
That goes.
It's an immunity booster. It's an immunity booster shot. That's all it is. It tries to fight some of it. We talk about this all the time, Greg. You get the polio, and then that's it. You've had polio, and you're done. You go after it, and afterwards you get nothing at all because that's what the polio vaccine does. And guess what the cure for polio is if you have polio? There isn't one.
There isn't one.
There is no treatment. There's no nothing except save maybe painkillers. That's why you get the vaccine because there's no cure for polio. Unlike the flu and the COVID.
Exactly. But then again, once again, truth really doesn't matter. At least truth doesn't matter here in California. And by the way, that also happens to do with research. Now, as you may or may not know, here in the state of California, we had this thing called the Gun Violence Research Center. And their goal is supposedly to study gun violence, although we all know guns are not violent. And you guys keep switching your seats. I'm not moving your chyrons anymore, just so that you guys know that. So you're now Patrick and you're now Mike. Anyway, so we have this, basically it started by an anti-gun researcher, right? And who named Garen Wintemute. Well, now the state legislature is going to be releasing information and releasing data, the names and information, personal information on private gun owners. This information and this data is going to be released to this research center. Now, mind you, supposedly it's not only supposed to go to them. And by the way, this is UC Davis. So this is University of California at Davis. So they're the only ones that really get the information. Although when other groups or other individuals who do research request the data and information, they're supposed to get it. But I can tell you right now, because we know groups that have already asked for it and they don't get it because they don't consider them legitimate. You're only legitimate, quite frankly, if your goal in the research is to, in fact, ban guns. So anyway, that's kind of the story. Once again, another anti-gun story coming here out of the state of California. What do you think, Mike?
You know what? We have to continue to watch these stories. We see this going on. Listen to what guns out of California. Guns out of California means guns out of everywhere else, right? It means it's flowing down. We see it come over. We see it come to Nevada. We see it working its way down to Arizona, right? Who thought that ever would have happened? We continue to see them flowing, and we must all stand up. We must spread the word. We must fight for rights. Craig, on the way here yesterday, I rode in an Uber with the guy from Venezuela. Who's recently become a a U.S. citizen. He moved out of Venezuela in 2015 when the nonsense started down there, and they started to pull back firearms. They started to take away those individual rights, and then they took the money away. And in the short of 10 years, it went from the richest country per capita in Mexico and South America to the poorest with the highest crime and the most corruption in it. And he came here on a working visa. Oh, by the way, he said he deplores illegal immigration because there's a right way to do it. And he was a citizen inside of 3 years because he came here on a working visa. And he is a pro-gun, pro-Trump, pro-Constitution guy. And if you don't think that stopping somebody from taking your firearms is not going to lead to a Venezuela or a Germany circa 1930s, you just continue about your business and watch what happens.
Oh, look what's happening in Australia right now. I mean, they're literally, the police are beating down people in the streets for protesting against like the shutdowns, and then they're going after the media, and they're basically taunting the media and restricting the media's ability to even report on the stuff that they're doing, on the stuff that the government is doing. It's crazy. And
right.
Once again, but getting back to these anti-gun researchers, it's like now all of a sudden, so if this information now, your information as a gun owner will now be made public in California. So people who claim to be researchers are going to be able to get access to your information, know what guns you own, know who owns guns and what guns you own. It is beyond unreasonable, beyond a violation of privacy, and I gotta believe it's unconstitutional.
I would think, listen, we've already seen this, right? We've already seen in many states and cities alike that you cannot have a database, you cannot have anything listing firearms owners. We know it exists in some jurisdictions, and in others it's been ruled absolutely unconstitutional, which just brings us back around to, Craig, we got a very important Monday coming up next week. And these things are going to start rolling through, a certain area of D.C., and you're going to get hopefully some positive answers out of unconstitutional, issues like maintaining database of firearms owners.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing some stuff coming out of the Supreme Court. Hopefully, the fact that Sotomayor is unhappy about the potential of this session.
Oh yeah, she's nervous.
Makes me very happy.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next story. For those of you who do not know, there's new data out from the FBI. The FBI puts out their FBI Uniform Crime Report. Now, this is for 2020. It indicated that armed citizens killed more criminals during the commission of a felony than were killed by the police. Meaning basically that, armed citizens are actually better at stopping criminals than are the police. Interesting stuff, huh?
And let me see. Hold on, I'm going to play trivia quiz game with Patrick right here, real quick. Patrick, over the last year, and you got to watch it in your own neighborhood there around the Wendy's. What's been going on with police as far as their aggressiveness to actually go to the crimes?
Well, they don't necessarily know. Police. Everybody thinks that the police are there to protect, but really, they're really there when you after the fact.
Exactly so. So, Greg, I think those numbers where you see the personal individuals stepping up has everything to do with what we saw from COVID, from people, going, buying their own firearms, taking their own protection into their own hands, as well as the combination of police. Now with the defunding, there are less police, and the attitude amongst much police that, hey, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. I'm just not going.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine it's funny because he was just shy of 50 and decided that he's gonna, he decided to hang it up. I got the chance as he counted down his last days of actually being a law enforcement officer, and he basically said, look, I can't do it. He's like, every time, he's like, I love my job and I love what I do, or at least I used to. He said the problem is this, is that every time, even though I could wait out a little bit longer and get more on my retirement, he said, here's the problem. He's like, every time I go out for risking my life and doing my job, I risk losing my my salary by getting fired. I risk losing my pension because if I get fired for something that I do on the job, even if I do exactly as I was trained, I could lose my pension. So I lose my future. He said, and I could wind up losing my own freedom because the stuff that's going on is basically they're going to deem that what I've done is a crime. And, now in the state of California, they've made it so that if they can prove that you show bias, and they don't even define what bias means, that you could actually be kicked off the job and lose your pension. I mean, why would someone want to do a job like that?
They don't. I mean, unless you get some, indoctrinated, kid out of the academy that's been, pro good and the Cowboys, the good guys wear white hats. The guys that are doing it right now, they're done. They're done. Maybe the next generation that never was used to having the protections might be talked into doing it again. But for the most part, this current generation of law enforcement is just trying to find their way out.
There's a city down near the coast called Santa Maria, and they're looking for law enforcement officers. And they are actually, it's funny, I was listening to a commercial on iHeartRadio when I was listening to a show, and they were offering for a lateral transfer, like salaries up, starting at $6,700 a month, starting off with 80 hours of sick leave and vacation and free education money and all of that, because they're having a hard time getting police because nobody wants to do the job. At least not under the conditions that the left are pushing right now.
Yeah. I was thinking about being a fireman, being a freaking firefighter, going to do that job.
Going and being a firefighter. That's what I'm going to do these days, That's what I got to
do. Be a firefighter. Let's see, be a freaking firefighter. That means Patrick's going to switch professions. He's not going to teach guns anymore. He's going to teach you hoses, how to operate the hose.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, let's move away from the left coast and FBI. Let's go to Florida, where they're actually suing the Biden administration on catch and release. So the Biden administration is suing Florida on their mask bans, on their ban on mask bans, and now Florida is suing the Biden administration on on catch and release. Captain Florida, gotta love him.
Yes, yeah. They listen. It's Captain Florida. I love Captain Florida. We talked about him every day this week, right? You got governors out there that sit and go by and wait for the wind to blow. And Captain Florida, whether you think he's running for president or you're running for whatever, I can tell you for what he's doing for damn sure, and that's trying to make Floridians safe. He's trying to make sure we have our constitutional rights protected. He's trying to make sure that everything that's guaranteed to us in the Florida Constitution, as well as the U.S. Constitution, comes our way. And when Biden and his people come along program and release known criminals into our communities, our governor said, nah, no, not going to happen here.
Well, especially since, they're so down on the Biden administration comes down so hard on Florida about about COVID and all of that, but yet they're letting 200,000 people cross our southern border a month, none of which have been tested for COVID, let alone vaccinated for COVID. And then they're releasing them. They're not just releasing them. Let's clarify. They're dropping them off in other states, like I don't know, Florida.
Yeah, exactly right.
Distribution.
Right.
Yeah, distribution, right? Equitable distribution. That's what it is. Make sure you share. Make sure you share the wealth. And by the way, let's make sure that you understand this, folks. Nobody asked Florida. Nobody. The feds just decided, hey, here's a good spot to let them go. Yeah. Let's take them to our federal facility there and just leave the gates open.
Pretty much. But we don't have an open southern border, though. You do know this, right? The administration has said we don't have an open southern border.
Yeah.
Florida
does enough on our own of keeping the borders controlled. Listen, we have the most, even more than you, Craig. Florida has the most coastal, ocean coastal, waterfront, land front than any state in the union, minus Alaska. All right, and we do a pretty darn good job of keeping them out. Listen, even Georgia's got some coastal waterfront property there, but they control it with the nuclear sub base. By the way, so the security there is pretty tight. We do a damn good job of protecting our own borders, and we have for years and years and years. And then the governor drives down from the north, or excuse me, the president drives down from the north and just drops them off. It's ridiculous. Listen, I'm going to tell you how good Florida's intelligence is on border issues and border, keeping immigrants out and keeping things from happening at the border. I remember probably about 15 years ago when there was issues of civil war and infighting and militia action occurring at the Georgia border, and Florida brought up to speed some of the military forces, the National Guard forces, and the state law enforcement department before they realized that the FBI had been giving us information from the country of Georgia over in Eastern Europe rather than from the state of Georgia just to our north. So Florida was ready to go, even though the threat was 7,000 miles away. True story, by the way.
True story. That sounds like a Florida man story. All right. Well, hey, since we're talking about lying, and we're talking about lies in particular relating to the southern border, I figured before this one got stale, we needed to use it because this is all about the conversation. This is all part of the conversation, and this has to do with those who patrol our southern borders, the people who, once again, put their lives on the line,
right.
Who, evidently, according to the media, like to whip Haitians with whips. We all know that's not the case, right? We all know that's not the case. In fact, this was one, Mike, that you sent me. This is the real Border Patrol. The Border Patrol cowboys that propagandist news don't want you to see. They don't want you to see the work that they're actually doing, in many cases, trying to protect people who are coming across the border. A lot of these people are being taken advantage of by coyotes. Having fun looking at your back, Mike. But they're being taken advantage of by, and quite frankly, many of them are having their lives put at risk in order to come to the United States. And these guys, man, are out there every day trying to not just protecting our border, but protecting the lives of those who are being put at risk by people who are trying to get them into this country.
Yeah, and again, they took the horses away from him, Greg. Because of a weird news story with a bad angle and the media making up lies. They took away one of the most effective tools they have there for not only restricting the people from coming across the border illegally, but from helping, like this kid who's probably been trafficked halfway across the northern Mexico desert, until he finally gets there. It's absolutely ludicrous what goes on. In the north with our current administration, and it's just I don't know if you can see it. Listen, it's not the bad internet making me shake my head. It's Biden. He's making me do it. He's making me do it.
Well, think about this. Of all the things that they said that they hated about Donald Trump, think about this. They still have kids in cages. All the policies they hate. There's still kids in cages, right? There are still people coming to there are still people coming through the border.
More so.
I mean, of all the things that are a debacle down there, the only policy change is, we're gonna get rid of horses.
Yeah, get rid of horses. That's it. There you go. Maybe we won't let the horses poop in the cages anymore. Maybe that's the solve. I don't know.
I don't know, Patrick. You think that'll solve the problem?
So.
Sure. Or why not? We'll just have we'll send them out there with snakes instead or something. I don't know. pick some animal,
We can actually get them to ride real coyotes. Remember when that story happened to actual coyotes? And
we'll get them to ride coyotes.
We'll do that.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. What do we do now? The coyotes are fighting coyotes. Oh well.
All right. Well, Mikey, it doesn't look like we
Craig,
have a whole lot of
we are
participation.
here, and I'm going to again. We got a lot of participation from Patrick, and I know we got our good friends at Guerrilla Defense and our good friends at Grid Defense and Guerrilla Machining, but we're also here at the Concealed Gary Associates, our other good sponsors from Arms Room Radio. Hold on, Arms Room Radio. It's right up there. You can see the sign. Arms Room Radio, and that's Next Level Training. And, who has the SIRT training laser pistol. So let's see if I can get it on there again. There you go. There we go. There's Arms Room Radio, and there's Patrick, and there's me. And since Next Level Training here is here, and Patrick is here, and he gave the most comments. What I did was I reached across under their booth, and they didn't see me, so I got Patrick a nice CERT law enforcement training pistol. So he's being presented a nice training pistol here on the air because they didn't see me reach over their booth and get one.
Nice, very nice.
Patrick,
you will love it. I enjoyed training with it. Yeah, it is a phenomenal tool. Allows you to get those trigger pulls in, especially when, as expensive as ammo is here in California.
Trigger pulls.
Yes, yes, sir. Congratulations, Patrick.
You got ammo, yeah.
Yeah, FFL.
Yeah.
See now, all you guys
Thank
watching,
you guys.
when you know we're going to be somewhere, all you got to do is be a stalker too, and you may win a prize.
There you go.
Very well, I like that 3-second delay.
It could happen to me.
Very nice. All right, well, folks, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. That's going to be it for this edition of The Rundown. Please remember, like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends to do the same and have a free, fun, safe weekend. Mike, now I understand you're not just going to be doing the USCCA, but you got another event coming up this weekend, you and Patrick.
Yeah, listen, tomorrow I'll be doing the Arms Room Radio Live here, 3 to 5 Eastern Time. And then on Sunday, both Patrick and I are speaking at the AMCON, which is the Gun Rights Policy Conference, Second Amendment Foundation's outreach program to the social media folks. So we'll both be speaking there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys. You can tune in online as well for that.
Yes, you can tune in. In fact, I will be speaking virtually, or at least participating in the conversation virtually. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's not the same as being there, but I will look forward to participating as well. Anyway, you folks take care. Have a good weekend. Mike, you guys have a fun, safe weekend. And get turned up for me.
Let's do it. It's time for some playoff baseball. Let's get it done.
Later days, guys.